was going to do just a couple more things with the refractor here that I learned along the way. One thing, I'm going to just put in a prescription here, but not that one. When somebody can't see 20/30 or better, it's very difficult for them to see the dots when you check for the sill. And so I just put up bigger letters for them. And the way I do that, I'm going to push the program button here. I'm going to push forward here. So right here is where you're checking their spherical, up and down. Let's say I have to isolate the 20/50 line is the best they can see from cataracts or whatever. Now in order to check their sill without going to the dots there, if you just push this number 2 button, the red button, or the number 2 right here, it automatically goes to checking their sill and keeping the 20/50 line up there. And so then I usually like to start with the axis. I just press the A button to make a change to axis, and so I just start giving them their choices between 1, 2, and you still just, if they say 2, you turn it that way, and then you go 3 or 4. Let's say they chose 3 over here, I'm going to go that way. Then to go back to sill, you push the C button. Let's say you put in a quarter and say better 3 or 4. And they choose 4 and go down a couple, 5 or 6. They choose 6, you go back up. And now I'm going to push the forward button again. It's going to go to the circles, but I'm actually not going to use them because I've already checked their axis and sill using the 20/50 line. So I just push it again and then push it again. And it goes back to their spherical. Go to the other eye, same thing. After you check their sphere, just push this button. It'll start checking their cylinder. And if you want to start with the axis, just push the A button. And you can see I have it on the 20/50 line. If they need even bigger, sometimes you have to go up to 20/70 or something. Give them their choices, and then to change to the cylinder amount, go to there, give them their choices, and then they're done. It'll go to the dots. You're not going to check it that way, and so then you don't have to use the dots if they don't have 20/30 or better vision. The next thing was for checking if they need any prism in their glasses. As you can see here, this is horizontal prism, this is vertical prism. What I usually like to do for this is isolate a letter. So I push that button and it isolates the H. And then on this pad here is the horizontal. I just push that, and if you start to turn it, to the left gives base in and to the right gives base out. And so if you just want to check it and see, let's say if they were having, after the refraction, they were seeing 2 images and they say, yeah, I see 2 letter H's, they're side by side. You could just turn it one way or the other and ask them when it comes into 1. And you could do the same thing if they say, yeah, I'm seeing 2, but they're on top of each other. And then you push the vertical prism and do the same thing. Base down, base up. And same thing here. If you want to check both at the same time, you could put in both prisms. And now they should see the traditional where they see one up to the right, one down to the left. And you can say, okay, tell me when they line up like buttons on the shirt, and slowly reduce the vertical or the horizontal. Okay, let's say there. Okay, so now 2 base out. Let's go back to 6. now they're up and to the right, down to the left again. Let's go to the vertical. Say, tell me when they line up like headlights on a car. Okay, right there. So now what you have to do is go back to here and put in that same amount that you just tested for, which was I think 2. So now if you stop there, the prescription will be 2 base out, both eyes right left, and then base up right, base down left. And then you push the program button again. You don't want to do near, and you push it again, and that will be your final prescription with the Prism in there. Now another tricky thing about that is when you push final and print twice, it's going to come up here, and you're going to do the same thing where you just copy the prescription, type in test, patient, and what happens is when you go to the refraction page, and I don't know why it does this, I should probably ask somebody, but and you go to import. Oh, actually, I've already done that, haven't I? Okay, well, no, I haven't. Okay, so I import from Marco, highlight, check all except for tonometry, delete after import, and import. Here's what's confusing. On the subjective, it puts the Prism amount you had in there, but for some reason, it doesn't automatically transfer it to the final. And so if you do want the same amount, you would just click copy and paste so that on the final we'll have the Prism in there. So again, that's just a couple things, checking Prism with the RTS 5100, and also how to check for their cylinder if they cannot see 20/30 or better and not having to use the little dots.